This is a conversation that we all share, and just take a note that you might be triggered because some raw emotion is going to come through. This is Autistic Pride Day Symposium in Sydney. I'm Kyriakos Gold, and this is the end of a 2-day marathon. We started in Melbourne and now we're in Sydney for the first time here, thanks to the City of Sydney. I wanted to thank everybody for participating, and as a closing session, we're hosting Think Autism. It's a conversation between experts and enthusiasts and autistic people, and I wanted to start with you, Sharon, again. I call you the fairy godmother because it was a conversation with you when we were both speakers at a State Library of Victoria event that gave me the idea of creating this community. And 2 years down the track, how do you feel being part of this? What's the first thing that comes to mind after the exhaustion of these 2 days?
I think our desires, our expectations of what's possible have increased so much over the last 2 years. We can actually, with the interest of policymakers, of the interests from other countries, I think I think we've raised the bar of what we think the lives of future generations of autistic people are going to be. And I think it's part of a social movement, and I think we're demanding more, and that's great.
Christina, you're a baby autistic. You told us you've recently been diagnosed and things are changing for you. How do you feel being part of this?
Hard to put it into words, I'd say, because I was telling Sharon, I know my mask self very well. And then there's this person over here that has attributes that I know is most comfortable, that I love, that I find joy in, but I'm still stuck between who am I exactly? And if I was to blend the two, knowing that I would devote X time to masking or X time to unmasking, what exactly does that person look like to ensure that it is most authentic? And I think I'm still going through that journey.
I'm trying to not listen because you made me emotional just by expressing how a lot of us with late diagnosis feel. It's just a very difficult journey, but it also has some beautiful moments. I'm struggling to take the concept in. Srishti, you are a practitioner too. You might be able to give us a little bit of light. How do you feel after a day like today? This was your first encounter with us.
I think well-informed but empowered at the same time. Being in a room full of people that I feel really comfortable with has been really thrilling, at the same time as having a platform to share my experience, maybe highlight minorities in that kind of platform as well. So it's been really, really amazing.
It's hard to put into words, because yesterday coming into Melbourne and seeing you and seeing Dr. and it was just the warmest, I just felt like I had come home. And that's so rare. Most of us haven't seen each other since last year, but it was just like coming home to family. And I just don't think that there's anything more special than that. I just feel so happy.
I love that, and I would agree. To your point about empowerment, though, I think what is generated here is something deeply profound, and there are already conversations going on where people are like, we need to catch up because actually I can see that you do this and I do this, and then maybe there's a connection here and maybe this could work in this way. And, the power of autistic community coming together, I really believe we're going to see the birth of all sorts of interesting projects, innovations, businesses, whatever it might be from these days. And I know there's something that I spoke to last year that someone subsequently rang me a year later and said, I've actually been working on what you spoke about. Can I come and talk to you about it? And so I think that it's actually an exciting time for the autistic community, and we're powerful, we're here, and I'm just beyond excited for what that can mean for all of us together and individually.
What's one new thing that this weekend made you think of that you wanted your professional community to know about? You want the professional community to know about?
Well, I already bang on about it quite a lot, but just the power of diverse brains and harnessing that for innovation. I mean, it's the space I work in already, but weekends like this really remind me of that and empower me to keep going.
Obviously being my first event, and my main thing is I regret not getting to know you sooner to be able to help you do this, because I've been in networking organizations, part of the Social Enterprise Network. The Social Enterprise Network, I felt embraced and comfortable. This is kind of a mix between, a Social Enterprise Network and an autistic network. And yeah, I felt so comfortable coming into the room. Our space is quite niche, and although I hadn't met some of you in person, I kind of seen your faces and stuff. So there was that comfortability. And knowing that if I come back next time, I'm probably going to meet some of you again.
There's no if you're coming back next time.
No, I will, and I do want to help you with the next one. And events like this are great. And to mirror Roo's comment a little bit, we know the power of networking, but I think from events like this, we're going to understand. So I'll word that again. We know the power of networking for business, but I think events like this are going to be able to showcase the power of networking for impact.
First time coming, it feels everyone here on the spectrum have good intentions to others, which is very hard to find in current business world. And the best part is I've gained good ideas on new technology, business, AI you mentioned, and most importantly, helping each other startups up, and hope all of you become successful after 1 year.
It's been really insightful. Thank you to all the panelists who's been sharing. For me personally, it's been a bit of a strange day actually, because I started an organization for autistic people 4 years ago. And then just 3 weeks ago, I got my ADHD diagnosis. And now being able to kind of officially, be part of the neurodivergent community, which I've felt part of for a long time. And I think I said to Kyriakos in the beginning, I think I got a bit triggered by Jacob earlier in the first session, actually.
Yeah, because this is quite an autistic space, right? So how does a neurodivergent person feel coming into like such a space with a boundaries like autism? How do we build the bridge between the two?
Yeah, because it's like I'm so passionate about this space, and then you have the mainstream kind of or the neurotypical, where I don't feel like I don't fit in 100%, and then you got the autistic community, and then there's neurodivergency is kind of like all over the place. And then you shared something about the red flag if it's not autistic-led. But how can the community come together and learn from each other so that it's still, autistic or autistic informed, so that what we're doing is actually right for the autistic community. I don't know.
One of the things that happens with us autistic people is we use really strong language that often sounds dogmatic. And I think that translation piece is important in connecting with other communities. So the conversation continued in terms of programs that are not autistic-led but are autistic-informed, as you said, like with co-design panels and advisory boards. So I think the solution is somewhere there.
So, I said a red flag is if it's not autistic-led, but I'm not saying that leadership needs to be one person. And I work at AV, and my general manager is neurotypical. She has children on the spectrum, and I don't think I'd want to replace her with another one of me, because it's a great element. She helps keep me in the box, and yeah, just bringing different elements, and she's very people centric, and she helps me understand all those things. So, you know, what I'm meaning is I'm leading the programs, I'm leading the things that are being built and developed and given to, say, the participants and the stuff. But she's the general manager. I'm the project manager, but I wouldn't remove those two things. I don't want you to feel, if I felt like, made you feel like you're an imposter or you don't belong in that position because, you're recent to it, and, I had a stroke, I've known since I was 5 kind of thing. You shouldn't feel like that. That's not what I was saying. We would never be in this position if it were not for our peers. AV as an organisation was developed by, mothers, by peers, by neurotypicals, not by the neurodiverse, but they understood that they need to have us as part of the voice, and that's why we are 90% led by autistics. But,
And I should say that Asperger's Victoria is one of not many organizations that have embraced this activity. We have no commercial relationship with them. They've, made sure that you came to Sydney as well, and we're very grateful for that. So what a great example to, and this is what I was saying to you before, like raise it, just have the conversation, because I think this is one of the more powerful moments of the day when you're getting that pushback, because I think autistic people enjoy a bit of pushback. So I don't know, I'm not going to name who, but we were saying before, one of my friends in here, when we first met, she said to me, "Oh, there's so many people that don't like you." And it's like, I don't know, why don't they like you? And I just suddenly looked at her and I thought, and I had a conversation and I had no emotion about it, because I can have that conversation. And it was, now that you've raised your hand, it's like, I love you for it, Christina. Like, it's just.
And I think that's one thing that came to mind just listening to people talk, is that, I don't know about everyone here, but I work really hard. I put in crap load of hours, even if I'm super sick, like across the weekends. I should be doing that with people that I feel safe around and that I trust. And I think the amount of projects impact that we could actually have together is actually quite phenomenal. This is the first time I've been a part of a community like this. With all the successes that you mentioned that I've done to date, I would be interested and curious to know, if I started partnering with my peers, what I could actually achieve.
As you're stating, how do you work with neurodiverse people, autistic people, and then making sure that it is safe, but it may not be led by them? Because initially, ADHD organization, 2 of them confirmed ADHD, 1 neurotypical. And a fun story about that was when we went from going from contractors, everyone was a contractor with us, to boilerplate employment, getting a standard issue contract that most neurotypical people just sign going, yeah, I have a job, let's go. I received a very detailed worded email from our autistic staff that said, "I love Dwayne, but," and there was an essay of everything wrong with the contract, which you go and talk to the accountant and the legal team going, this person just fixed the problem that you have, in the sense that they clarified exactly what the contract should look like, and they did it because they want to work for you.
So I should say that you've come up with a solution to get NDIS to pay for gaming for autistic people, Dungeons and Dragons, right?
Almost make it sound like like I'm about to be on like a 2GB interview. But let's reframe that, right? So let's reframe that completely, right? It's a case of, this is not video game therapy, none of that, right? It's
but somebody can have the special interest and that can be funded, right?
So that's exactly right. So what we do, and I suspect what Rebecca does as well with lots of the work that she does, is that we use their interest to drive the learning and growth in everything else that they need to grow. So in that sense, we use Dungeons and Dragons to start the conversation.
But you're not autistic, so that's a great synergy that you've been able to deliver that solution. That's what I'm highlighting here.
Yeah, it was built for my godchild who's on the spectrum, and then I find out my daughter is. So then I've realized I have ADHD. And after hanging out with you guys today, there's a lot of markers in here that make me think, maybe but it's what it is. And people are on different journeys and they're all learning. And there are lots of people who are also autistic that don't identify as that because stigma. So I'm quite sure lots of the leaders that you are talking about in the space, some of them land rockets, but they don't identify because of the stigma. And that's just based on the country.
I've done a couple of keynotes in the UK in the last 12 months. And in the UK, they haven't got this separation of autism. And it's about neurodiversity and entrepreneurship. And I think we're really focused on autism because it's just a major opportunity right now because of the strategies that are being developed. But I think we need to recognise that there's a lot of overlapping characteristics. And in a way, I think there's been, like the federal government has had an inquiry into ADHD, but I think we need to be careful to not separate things out. You know, we are for a policy opportunity, but I think we need to be careful that not to exclude people with other forms of neurodiversity from what's being advanced.
So I'd like to thank you very much for having me here. It's my first time, and I'm still in the journey of getting to know myself, and today it was enlightening. So thank you very much for that. I also work in a school as a non-teaching staff member, and from what has been discussed today, I think they could use some advice. And so thank you very much. I want to keep this short. I'm not a good speaker, so thank you.
I just want to say, as an organizer of a social group for autistic adults, I'm really glad to hear the perspectives from people who run kind of more formal programs for autistic people. I think some of the ideas from these really would apply to my group as well, and I'm also quite glad to find out more different kind of services that I can potentially refer members of my group to should the question come up, because yes, sometimes we do get that question in the group. On a slightly different angle, as someone who works for a large organization, yes, the phenomenon of the organization asking the existing autistic staff for advice on the topic of autistic employment, it does happen. And as such, I think some of the ideas from today's workshop also will probably come in handy for my day job as well. So, and lastly, I also really enjoy this environment where people very much validate my ideas when I speak up in the workshops. I think everything is so relatable, and people who seem to be very friendly. So yeah, it's a great day. Glad I came here.
Hi, my name is Cheryl. This is my first time at any kind of autism event. I'm not actually diagnosed, but I've been encouraged to get a diagnosis. I found today pretty inspiring. I'm not sure if I missed out on some things because my attention isn't that great, but I think it would be nice, perhaps, next time to focus or talk about our struggles a little bit more, because I feel like a lot of you guys masked really well, and I feel like
I had to go and have a sleep before because I just couldn't keep going, you know.
I agree. I slept 12 hours yesterday, and then I slept till I think 12 o'clock today in order to get up and actually have the energy to be in a new group. I watched the 2023 version, so I know, who Roo is, as many people in this room as I could. The amount of preparation that went into this in order to feel safe and comfortable is probably beyond any average person.
I think I'm in a very fortunate position because I don't have to prepare for this. And I would say the reason is because I am an NDIS participant. I have a lot of support workers. So my day, I'm supported in so many ways with everything that I do, so that I never get those tired feelings, and I'm very thankful because I have so much support that I can actually function in these sorts of environments, because a lot of what I have difficulty with, I have support for.
Yes. So this sound that comes out of the air condition hurts my body. It's been hurting it all day long. Right now, I really want to cry. There's like a little tear that's coming through for the last 5 minutes. And when Anita started crying, it was like the most difficult thing. When my friend sang, I can do this, which is exactly what happens every day. Every day there's a moment when I have to suppress everything so much and say, I can do this, and put on a big smile. And it's that we oppress ourselves to the point that the trauma becomes the norm. To the point that when you cry, you think, oh, I'm crying. That's actually okay. But for me, I'm 48. I used to cry twice a year. Now I have no more walls. Like, it just feels that they're all destroyed because I've been unmasking. So I'm sorry if I'm upsetting you, but it's just a constant struggle to keep it together. And there's just the wickedness of the sensory intense triggers. I can't describe it. The last 2 days in my Greek activist autism TikTok, I had some people telling me you don't look autistic enough, which is the hardest thing I can hear. And some said it because they thought it was a compliment. And some said it because they were calling me a fraud. So that is also another constant feeling. But there's also a brightness that comes with the understanding of your autism. There's a light that comes with it that kind of balances things out. So for me, I'm just proud for everything that comes with it. And I'm just really happy to be here right now, even if there's tears. And the tears, yes, there are tears of joy, but all that air conditioning is just killing me. So, yeah. Anyone else that wants to share their struggle? Yeah, this is the session for it. I'm sorry for, oh, come here. Oh, you're so good.
Probably not so much of a struggle, but I just want to acknowledge that you facilitated a safe space that's affirming. That is a very unusual thing that happens for people. And it's something that I wish becomes the norm for our children and our grandchildren, and that people here make a difference for future generations, not just for the people in the room. But thank you. And I guess that is the challenge of, these, I guess, neurodivergent safe bubbles exist, but not everywhere.
Thank you.
It's all hard. Like, working so hard is hard, and not getting support for the things that you're doing is hard. Life is hard. I think the hardest thing is sometimes feeling like it doesn't matter how hard you work, that, what, you can't fix it for our younger people. We can't fix it. We just have to, almost like bubble wrap them enough to survive it. And that sucks. That really, really sucks. And I wish I could do more. And I hate that I can't do anymore sometimes.
I've noticed that, you said you can't fix it for younger people, but you've left yourself out.
Yeah. I think, it comes at a cost. If you want to really make big changes, I think it would be a lie to say that it doesn't cost you personally a lot. But it's worth it. right, if we can hand it over even a little bit better to our younger people, then that's a life well lived.
I would say when I had my diagnosis and it just felt like I had a team diagnosis, which was great, and I just chatted for a few hours. And I haven't worked in a workplace for over 20 years, and I spend most of my time at home. These days I've got 4 support workers, and I've picked my own.
Rub it in.
I've picked my team, so they've all got different skill base that they pick up on on what my challenges are. And yeah, I just feel like I've just got the perfect life for an autistic person, and that's what they said to me when I had my diagnosis. I would say cherish your time, it's very easy to want to engage in everything, but just cherish your time. You've got to cherish it and only put out bits that you can do, and say no to people, and think of what's important to you. And you've got to be selfish in this world if you're going to get through this, staying safe for yourself. And I'm very conscious about my own mental health and my own well-being, and I'm as selfish as hell, and I hold on to it. And so yes, I would that's be my bit of advice.
Yeah, you're too young to say that to hand it to your children, so stop. And I don't think anybody wants change that takes another 40 years. So no, it has to be done next year. But that being said, it doesn't all need to be done by you, and needs to be done by all your messy allies. So all the people that all our allies in the disability community are messy. And I talk about, they will say the wrong things. They will be temporary. They will want to take a picture with you. They'll want to do, they don't line up, but they'll give you what you need to drive the change you need immediately. So embrace all the messy allies, take what you need, and support the community.
I'm going to try, be vulnerable, but I'll also end on a positive if I can. So, some of you may have heard, I got my diagnosis early, and beyond sharing the autistic and the ADHD things, I have Tourette's. So, through that experience, I don't know how many of you know about Tourette's, but there's different things. Most people know the swearing one. I did that when I was younger. I had to control that. I used to, I'd click in my sleep. I do those random things. I've had to control that. How many of you have noticed me twitching right now? A few of you, right? I want to ask, what have you noticed? Where have you noticed? The neck, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That neck goes all the way down the right side of my body. I'm hyper tight all the time, right? So it sucks, right? I don't have medication. I can't get medication. You medicate the ADHD. What's it going to do to the Tourette's? You mitigate the autism. What's it do to the ADHD? And I get it's hard, but there's a power in it being hard and getting through it. And again, I'm someone who was diagnosed at that age after having a stroke. I got given all these things, and I never had any support from. I cannot remember a speech pathologist, a doctor, anyone who I can say was on my side the whole time. So, I know that, and that the way that's made me as a person, I know that influenced the way that even some of the things I'm speaking to, where, at face value, I'm probably coming off a lot more abrupt and a lot less vulnerable than most people. But, again, for me, environments like this, like Kyriakos, I'm not someone who cries very often. More and more now when I'm in environments. But yeah, it's, I don't want it to be easy in a sense, because it makes me feel so much more powerful knowing I've gotten through it when it's hard. And I can be an example to people. That's why I'm here. I don't want to be, I stepped in this position. I didn't join AV to talk and be in front of a camera. I joined and this thing to be just to get the job done, to work on the problem. I'm happy to let someone else talk to my businesses even, to be the one who pitches them. I don't care if I'm in the limelight, but you know, I've been told by so many people that my story, this thing, for me, it is what it is. It is just me. You know, so, but I was told that it brings people power, you know, and that in itself, knowing I can be here bringing value for other people, I don't care how hard it is. Make it harder for me. If I can make it easier for someone else and I can have the strength to be the bridge for others to walk over me, I'll be it. And I'll do that with a smile on my face. So just what I'm saying is it's hard, but for you to get through how hard it is, you're going to make it easier for the next person. And that's what this is all about. That's going to be the real change. That's the power in this room. The fact that we can be vulnerable, the fact that we don't need a mask, the fact that we can do things different when society's telling us we can't, and we can prove that we can, and do it in cohesion and do it with good results and do it in an environment that if this is recorded, this is not normal, but heck, it's powerful.
Christina,
it's not normal.
It's not normal. Anyone inspired to share?
I am a late diagnosed ADHD, and today was inspiring. Like so we were talking about challenges of the day, and the sensory challenges were quite heightened for me as well. But I think the take from the day was incredibly powerful. Not only today was, neurodiverse, it was also gender diverse. And it was really good to see panel members, a lot of powerful female panel members. And yeah, so I just find it empowering and powerful. And it's good to see that although a lot of us have had a hard journey, we're hoping to make it better for, future neurodiverse persons and perhaps our kids or our cousins or friends. So, yeah.
And how good is it that you're here with your sister, right?
I am here with my sister.
It's the para family or chosen family, for this space.
Yeah. And it's good to see because, we were both late diagnosed, and I saw my sister struggle during her teenage years. I hope you don't mind me sharing that. But I saw her struggle, and I saw how lonely the journey was, and to see that there's a community out there so together and so powerful. And it's amazing all the things that you guys do and have achieved. And I think it just gives me a lot of hope in the world we are living in today, where we really need hope. It gives me a bit of hope.
No, I came here purely. Well, when I signed up, it was purely to support my friend Christina, and I realized we've actually known each other for almost 14 years. But I actually wanted to thank all the panelists because I actually learned so much. I'm neurotypical. That's a new term I've learned, but I've actually learned so much. And also just watching all the discussions and the commonalities and also the differences. But the commonalities actually, in a way, it actually made me feel really sad, Christina, because I remember during our first startup, a lot of the conversations, I think I remember almost all of them. And putting that overlay, actually, when there'll be really tough times, you'll be saying you're scared and I can't do this, and it's really, really challenging. And now actually realizing you're talking about, the masking and how hard it actually really was, and you were really young at the time. And I'm also
still really young.
Let's not. But I just seeing you talk today and just seeing everyone out. So I wanted to say thank you to everyone. I'm definitely going to make that commitment, and I think a lot about as a lawyer, as a commitment, but trying to make the promise in terms of my staff as well, and actually spreading it around, and the knowledge I've shared. I think it's really valuable, and I've gained a lot, so I'm grateful. So thank you, everyone.
I guess I think the biggest thing I noticed is that I have never seen so many autistic people in a room before. Like, we are part of a minority community, and I find it so hard to find autistic people because you guys mask up, especially if you're not a Caucasian cisgender boy. It's so hard to find you guys, and I feel like I'm an activist, and I find it easy to find. I feel like the best place to find autistic people is to join the activism community, because some people are quite open about that. But then I only see about 3, maybe around 3-4 neurodiverse people. And to me, 3-4 people is a lot. So imagine all this. This is pretty wild to me. I find that pretty cool.
I have to say that this morning when you discovered the cereal in the kitchen and you jumped from joy, I looked at you and I thought, I wish I could unmask and show the joy that I feel when I see Cocoa Pops. So, and it was like the moment in the morning, that's the moment that I'll take with me. So I thank you for that. So when I said before, nice to meet you, which sounded like a really weird thing to say, I meant it really literally. Like, it's really nice to meet you. And it's really nice to meet every single one of you. And that will be my final comment for the day. This was Autistic Pride Day Symposium in Sydney. I'm a very crying, emotional Kyriakos Gold. And I hope to see you soon on our web pages, autisticprideday.org, or on our socials at Autistic Pride Day. If you've got money, donate to this project. We're all about free accessible platforms, both digital and grassroots. And a special thanks to the City of Sydney for making our Sydney Symposium possible. A big clap both this way and this way for everyone.